Howdy everybody, welcome back to the Cast Gaming Channel. James here. Once again, I've got another Napoleonic Total War 3 mod replay for you guys today. It's going to be 4v4, and it is going to be a core battle today. But before we go ahead and get into the replay, I just want to remind everybody I am sponsoring a Napoleonic Total War tournament. It's going to be a 4v4 tournament with a first prize of $100, and I'd like to interview the winning team. And I'd like to get about 6 to 10 teams together as soon as I can, and once I get them together, I'll get the tournament started. If you would like to send me any replays, or if you would like to sign up for the tournament, you can email me at TheCastGamingChannel@gmail.com, or you can send something to my Discord channel. Both my email and Discord channel link will be in the description box below. Today's replay was plucked from the Lord's Discord by Easy M. I think that's how you say his name. So let's go ahead and get into today's matchup. As I said before, it's going to be 4v4 on Flanders 8, I believe is the name of the map. We have a couple Prussian corps here. One is Württemberg Corps, a 6-pointer. Then we've got Braunschweig as the 13-pointer, 2nd Prussian Corps. The 3rd Corps on the left is going to be a Russian Corps. It's Bagration. And on the far right for the coalition today is going to be Gorchkov. So I played this map a few times. I think it's a fairly popular map. My advice for the coalition is to basically have your 3 armies, the one on the left and the 2 in the center, just kind of rush into the center here, flanking on this left side if you can, and while that's going on, I'm sorry, have the Russian corps on the right push through this right side area, maybe place some men in the forest as a rear guard, and then all just kind of funnel towards the center core here. For the Imperial faction today, looks like we're going to have Davout as 1 corps, Murat as part of the 2nd corps. It looks like we had a Russian charge here. Probably going to be able to rout pretty soon. Might have caught some sleeping units over there. Finished going through the course here. Bernadotte is going to be the commanding corps number 3, and Soult is going to be French Imperial Corps number 4. Just getting back to this, it looks like the Cav from Russia was able to be routed. Looks like it was pretty much just kind of an even trade between the 2 factions. Nothing to write home about. France started in this center section here, and normally when France does this, they hold the town, they wait for their allies to come up, because it takes a minute. The French starts in the other 3 French factions start all the way in the back, so it looks like they might have opted to push up on this right side. So if that's the case, Russia's either going to have to hold against them, defeat them, let their allies come up, and fill in the center area here. Got to be a little careful. I was going to say Russia had some units over here, but it looks like they're linking up with the rest of the Prussian units. So we'll see the action going on the left side here. Looks like Russia has a building. France is trying to come inside. Bunch of people chilling in the building. Don't really know who's winning right now. Looks like France actually has got a grenadier unit versus some elite infantry. Russia's going to have to get some extra infantry in there if they want to take this house here. There is an opportunity. Prussian Cavs up here, along with Russia, they might have an opportunity to kind of isolate this core right here in order to kind of, at which point, if they were able to rout the Cav, they'd be able to surround this infantry in this town. Probably and have an easy time routing it. So pretty typical here. We've got artillery on top of this hill. Unfortunately, it's not very well placed. It needs to be a little bit pushed up a little bit forward. And let's see, this is a 12-pounder and an 8-pounder. Okay, so I thought this was a 4-pounder for a second because looks like it's a faster moving artillery, but I was wrong. It was an 8. So they shouldn't have any problem with the range. So Army's just maneuvering, getting into position. I don't see a whole lot of French infantry right now. Maybe it's just because we're limited on what we could see, and but however, if there is a limited amount of troops in the center here, now would be a good time for Prussia to push forward, especially with these guns not in the best position. Checking over on the right again. Oh, Russia's got to be careful. It's got its guns here. It looks like this Cav is rushing in to try and take out these guns. It's a good thing Russia saw that. He can charge his dragoons. We'll probably be able to rout this Chasseur à Cheval unit. There they go. However, France does hold the house, so it'll be difficult for Russia to charge its infantry in there and take the house, especially with all these French infantry reinforcements. However, the house is also surrounded, so the infantry is pretty much cut off. It can't really go anywhere. Russia could probably just charge all of its infantry in there, defeat France in melee combat, and say goodbye to a French corps. So with this French artillery placed in a poor position, it is getting some shots in on this scouting Cav units. Prussia is very well protected. It's got distance and height on its side. It's got this mound. I like to see the players taking advantage of this cover. Here's a potential for kind of a mass Cav battle on this side of the map. Looks like Russia's got its artillery set up. Needs to be a little bit careful. Prussia's got its Cav in front of these guns. Don't want to shoot your allies' army. That's never helpful. So it looks like Russia's surrounding this infantry. Russia really should be charging its infantry into melee combat against this unit. It shouldn't be in a shootout here. France has got the cover of the stone wall, and France's faction is just the better at shooting than Russia is. Yeah, it was kind of an unnecessary battle there. I wouldn't have gone after that myself. I would have taken a couple infantry units and probably just charged them in. So it looks like France is receiving some reinforcements on this side. Russia needs to be careful. It does have some guns it can bear to shoot into the flank of this French infantry. I'm not sure if he's shooting at it or not. Nope, he is not. Yeah, your guns need to be positioned at this massive infantry. You could probably get some really good damage on it. The other thing you can do is reposition this, maybe move it up here so you can hit the flanks. Move up some infantry along with your Cav. Get some excellent flanking fire, some excellent enfilading fire on this France army here. Maybe you're shooting at this artillery back here. It's not really the best idea to do a artillery versus artillery battle, especially when you've got all this going on. So the other thing Russia could do right now, it could engage France, or it could retreat. If it engages France, it's probably not going to do too well in a line battle, especially with this house here. I don't like fighting by houses personally, because you can you take fire from the house through your cav charges. Your infantry will take fire, and there's not really much that you can do about it, so I don't like to do that. However, Prussia is coming up. So if Russia decides to make a stand, they'll have the reinforcements of their allies. Russia will be able to pin down this French army right here, or this French corps, while Prussia comes and outflanks them. So that could be their strategy here, and it's pretty good. And it looks like we got a huge cav battle popping off on the center section. Looks like we've got some retreating French units. This Prussian unit looks like it's about to break. Got a Dragoon unit that was broken by this reinforcing Prussian cav. It's not looking good for France in the center. Is able to hold off this cav charge here with a couple squares. So I'm kind of wondering what the heck the French strategy is here. Maybe they just they wanted to go for a push on this right side. Maybe they're trying to outflank on the right side here. Just not necessarily a bad idea. But I'm kind of wondering what they got to sacrifice in order to go through this flanking maneuver. If this was Murat's corps over here and they routed, that's essentially a corps gone from France, which will be extremely devastating. Oh, sorry about that. I don't know what the heck. Little misclick by me there. I was trying to minimize the minimap. So, as predicted, France is doing a good job in the line battles here. They're able to get some great shots in. Unfortunately, what's going on for France right now is that when Prussia comes over, they're going to be cut off from the rest of their army. They might be able to push against. They might be able to defeat Russia and push against, but they'll probably push themselves too far. At least that's what I'm seeing. With Prussia will be able to then come over Prussia will be able to come over to support Russia, and they'll be able to defeat this army, this separated army by itself. Let's see if we can get a volley here from across the way. Russia, not a nice day, rainy. France is advancing on Russia. Need to be careful. Russia is really good in melee combat. Unfortunately, I think Russia's just a little bit outgunned here. Oh, excellent positioning on this artillery. I didn't see this initially. I would like it if... I personally prefer the artillery unit to be a little bit farther behind the infantry unit. Or behind the line. Which it sort of is. It's just behind the infantry. But not quite. It's extremely vulnerable to cav charges. And if I was France right now, I'd be taking this chasseur unit, and I'd be just charging this right side in this guns, because you're going to take a lot of fire. It's going to be very damaging. Again, with the artillery right on the line, I don't like to see that. And the farther France pushes out from town, the more cut off that they're going to be. The less cover they're going to have on their flank from potential charges, the less cover they're going to have from any coalition supporting units. I'm not really sure what Prussia's been doing here. It looked at one point that they were going to come over to the left side to help out Russia, because Russia's kind of getting cut off if they don't get any help here. However, this what we've got is some beautiful line battles going on. It's really nice to see. It looks like I see a little bit of cav off in the distance. Maybe they're going in for a little bit of a sneaky charge here against these guns. I would have done this way earlier. In fact, I would be pushing up this infantry the moment I was ready to, or just before I was about to charge in the cav, to get a little bit of protection from the guns, get a little bit of maybe help against counter cav charges. And you hear, this is what I don't like to see. Like, Russia is retreating its infantry here, and in doing so, it is exposing its artillery to charges here. Yes, Russia has done a good job placing this Dragoon unit behind the artillery, which hopefully help protect it. But I'd still be worried. Oh, it looks like there was a nasty artillery shot. You see that? It looked like a giant ball of massive blood and gore blowing up this unit, which is actually kind of rare to see. I don't see that too much in this game. And France's artillery is really, really sticking it to Russia at this moment. Not to mention the line infantry is really really whittling down these Russian units. And if Russia isn't careful, it's going to fold here on the left side. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, Russia initially had cut off, the coalition had an opportunity to cut off this French corps. Unfortunately, now it's being turned against the coalition. Now France is turning Russia against the rest of the Prussian armies. However, it looks like Prussia has advanced from this left flank. After they were able to get rid of the, after they were able to win the cav battle, they were able to sweep through the town, it looks like. Looks like they were able to get to artillery on the hill. Prussia is continuing to move forward. There's some extra units. I think that now's a good time to throw them into the fight. And if I was France here, retreating to this position is not a bad idea. There's four 12-pounders here, which would be an excellent artillery piece. However, he needs to organize this flank. It's way too messed up. It's way too disorganized. And he needs to pull back his infantry units, reform the line. Do not fight Prussia on this hill. The other option for France on this side is to retreat into the woods. You'll get some cover from cavalry charges. You'll get cover from Prussian infantry as well. Looks like Russia was able to sneak some cav units in the back line. Caught some unaware French cav. And France is going to be on the retreat. This side's going to really need to defeat Russia quickly. And it looks like this Russian artillery piece was destroyed. Russia's going in for a bayonet charge against... Whoa! There's just stuff popping off everywhere. Maybe the artillery piece wasn't routed after all. France needs to hurry and get rid of Russia on the side, but Russia looks like it's being stubborn with some counter-cav charges and some bayonet charges. It looks like it's really hurt France on this side. Now would be a good time to take this cav, get into the flank of Russia on this side, so it can save your right flank, or take this right here and hit counter Russia. Need to be protective of your artillery on this side. Need to spare as much men as you can. The other thing France could do at this point is they could leave a rear guard at this house, retreat their infantry units here, link up with their allies, hit Prussia on this flank, and I think that would probably be the smartest thing for them right now, is to see if they can just roll up Prussia, because France on this left side is hurting really, really bad. It's disorganized. Did they lose their guns? Oh, how did they lose these guns here? Maybe they were too far up on the line again. Looks like a cav charge coming in on the Prussian flank. Gonna rout Prussian infantry here. Look at that. The morale of Prussia is dropping. Fortunately, they should have stopped pursuing this routing cav. They should have turned this cav onto this Prussian units. They need to be. France needs to be pushing up its infantry to support this cav charge. They could get some excellent flanking fire. You can see the morale of Prussia just dropping with these volleys and this cav charge here. Send up your infantry, France. Support your cav here. It's not going to last too long with all this extra Prussian support. It is good to see that they're moving the general up here to support this this heavy cav charge. Prussia, you need to be careful. You're shooting your own cav in the back here. All this cav is rounding on both sides. Oh, France, you've just been so disorganized. You just have not been able to hold off Prussia on this flank. Prussia going for a cav charge on this French left. These units are a bit too far out, I think. They need to be closer to support the infantry on the left flank from this cav charge. I know that they're threatened by this Russian cav on the left side. Now France is coming to the rescue, or at least attempting to come to the rescue of their allies on this side, which they should have done a little bit sooner. Yeah, Russia was able to distract France long enough for them to pull far away from their allies. Unfortunately, France on this side just had a disorganized retreat and just has not been able to keep his army intact as well as he should have. France is getting these guns in line. I like to see them behind. You could actually probably move them up just a smidge if you really wanted to. However, they're okay where they are. They're 8-pounders. They'll be able to do some damage. You should open up maybe a little bit of a gap here for your artillery. France needs to keep retreating, need to get through this town. Retreat your infantry into this forest area here. Maybe create an L shape at the forest. Protect you from cav charges. It'll protect you from this Prussian advance. get yourselves organized quickly because you don't have much time. Got another Russian charge. Was this unit able to form square in time? It looks like it was. Looks like it was, just disorganized. However, Russia's coming up. If he charges his guys into this square, be able to probably rout this square. This is a bit of a mistake. I don't think France should be pushing up its infantry. It needs to continually fall back. It needs to fall back. And this artillery is way too far up. However, they are doing a great France is on the side doing a great job of getting Prussia, of hurting Prussia. It might be a good idea to, if you're going to keep these guns here, it might be a good idea to put some fire into this side of Prussia now that Prussia on the right is becoming disorganized. And hopefully France on this right side will be able to come and roll up this side of Prussia. France on this left really needs to be pushing its infantry forward. It can get the local superiority on these Russian units. Move up your guys from the square formation to protect the flank. Good job, Russia, on the retreat. You don't want to engage an organized French force in a shootout if you can help it. Some excellent line battles today. Looks like Russia went in for a cav charge on this flank. And this was what I was talking about. You needed to move up this square formation in order to protect the left flank. Russia was able to just charge a cav unit right in there. Could potentially rout this unit. It's good to see there's some reinforcements coming over. This could countercharge this cav if you needed to. France is folding up into this in the center. Needs to fall back again. Needs to fall back this artillery. Your job right now as France is to just survive until your allies can come over to join the fight. Prussia going in for a charge, and this is what I talk about. This artillery is too far forward. Prussia's just able to charge their infantry right in there. A better option would have been to fold their center towards this forested area, keep some men in the house to take on any Prussian units that come after you. Maybe put your artillery right in the center of town, where you're going to be protected from cav charges, or maybe on this side. But to leave it on the line is almost always a mistake, in my opinion. And you see, France is kind of, it was crumbling in the center. It was able to reposition its men. Now its ally is coming over. So it was at least able to stay alive long enough for some reinforcements to arrive. I would not push up any further if you can. France, don't even bother getting into linking up here. Just go straight after the Prussian line. Just get yourself in line. Make Prussia react to you. France has missed an excellent opportunity. He could have had some guys getting some great flanking fire in this position of the forest. Just a big missed opportunity right there. Now Prussia's going to be able to go into the forest if it wants. And that'll give it some protection from French fire. The other thing is here, France, if it's got two choices. It can either fold back this line in order to give time for the right side to roll up Prussia, or it can try and go after these Russian units because it can have the local superiority on them. These units can form square, so they'll be protected against infantry charges. France in the center is having some real trouble against Prussia. Might be a good idea for these units to go into a countercharge against this Prussian grenadier unit, since the morale is low and they're sandwiched in between this house. They can't go anywhere. If you've got a general, put them in this general put the general in this area to keep your troops' morale up. It looks like that's what France is going for. Is able to rout this Prussian grenadier unit. They're getting attacked on the flank with some supporting cavalry. Forming square would be a good idea if you can do it. There's some supporting cav unit from France should be able to get Prussia. It's going to be extremely difficult for Prussia to take this house. If I was France on this side, push up your infantry. Push up your infantry. Maybe leave a couple units here. Looks like the game weirded out for a second. Push up your infantry here, or maybe maneuver it around this side. Hit these guys. Or at least push up your infantry here into this section while you hit them with artillery. Leave a unit or two to protect the battery. Good job. They've got some good placement on the artillery here. France is protected on the left side. Might be a better idea to fall back your infantry here. Looks like your ally is in trouble on this right side. You could leave a guard here in the forest, which Russia would have to deal with, or go completely around. And I don't, it looks like France may have lost the house. I don't know. I can't tell. Looks like Russia might be able to get this this cav unit from France, and once that does, France is going to be in a very tough position. Going to have a hard time defending their artillery. I would reposition this line unit if you can to shoot in the flank of this heavy cav unit. Oh, and it's not looking good for France on this side. Looks like France is broken in the center. Prussia's going to be able to exploit this. France is trying to get rid of this cav before Russia moves up and engages. Looks like France is maybe just charging in its men towards Prussia to do as much damage as it can. It's not looking good for France. They're most likely are not going to be able to overcome these odds. France on the left, getting cav charged. Surprised this unit didn't rout. It's able to form square. If Russia was losing and all, they're going to be able to retreat and protect themselves. I don't think France has enough to roll up this left side, and even if they do, they're going to be facing another 2 armies on this right side because France is pretty much gone. And it was a good maneuver, a good try on France to come over to its allies. Unfortunately, it needed to push fast. It needed to break Prussia much quicker than it did. France could get some flanking fire on Prussia right here instead of retreating if they wanted to do some damage. There's this artillery unit that's open for any coalition cav to just charge right in. France is now gone on this right side. Prussia will be able to sweep around through this forest, hit the remaining French army in the flank. And it looks like France is pulling a couple units that it had left from the house in order to engage. I might have pulled these out sooner. I might have just given up the house. These probably would have been better served on the line with your infantry rather than holding the house. And now there's really not much France can do any longer. I think he's probably just down to a single corps. Or the Imperials are probably just down to a single corps. There's just too much infantry. Their best bet would be to put all of their infantry into the forested area and just shoot out try and force a shootout as best they can. There's too much cavalry from the coalition in order for them to in order for them to really do anything about it. The forest would protect you a bit from cav charges and some gunfire, but like I said, there's just too much. This Russian corps is still alive. I think both Prussian corps are still alive. Yep, both Prussian corps, and this Russian corps is still alive. So unfortunately, there's just not enough. And you can tell there was some heavy fighting on this battlefield today. You can see the lines actually just crisscrossing while they were moving forward or retreating. And you can see the massive cav battles here. Some more lines, all the bodies gone in the town. A weird bugged out cavalry unit. Yeah, more lines here strewn across the land. Now, France just looks like it's forming up. Just going to make a last stand against Prussia. And also this other Russian corps. May be retreating a bit to see if it can get its guns in place. Maybe they're thinking if they can reposition their guns accordingly that they'll be able to have a chance. But there's just too much. So I'm not very hopeful for France, but you never know. If I was Prussia, I would not be running my infantry. You can see these guys, you know, the morale shocks on these guys are real. And the more tired your unit gets, the easier it is to affect the morale of that unit. Now, looks like we had a cav charge on the French line from some Russian cuirassiers. Prussia going in for a bayonet charge. Most likely be able to rout this square formation. There it goes. Prussia going in for some more bayonet charge. France doing all it can, charging in its cav. Folding its flank. Unfortunately, I just don't... There's just too many units for France to fight against. Nice volley against the cuirassier unit. And is actually able to break them. Well done. It's just going to be a big charge on the lines here. I was actually about to suggest just doing that. It's unlikely that France will be able to counteract this bayonet charge from all this infantry. You see them already routing. This one's wavering. And the coalition is just about finished this match. And that's the end of the French army. They've got one unit in the house here. Grenadier unit. Who knows if we'll be able to hold here, but for the most part, this is done, except for just routing this one last unit in the house. Good game to everybody. It was a nice match. I enjoyed casting it. I like this map. I'll go ahead and fast forward to the end. For the coalition today, who was the winning team? We have Smasher as commanding the 1st Russian Corps, and he had 1,179 kills. Hoplite 82 was commanding the 2nd Russian Corps. He had 1,208 kills. EZM, which I hope is how you pronounce it, had a total of 1,684 kills. Crash was playing the other Prussian Corps, which was Württemberg, and he had 928 kills. So for the Imperial faction, the 1st Corps here was Latour, and he had 1,251 kills. Sheriff McFly was the 2nd Imperial French Corps with 1,148 kills. The next Corps was Murat, commanded by KGL Pierre WXP, and he had 567 kills. And then Tahiti Bob was the final French Corps with 1,163 kills. And I'll just go down the list here for you. For this Prussian Corps, the highest kills, the number one amount of kills was a cuirassier unit, and it had 226 kills. All right, thanks everybody for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget to sign up for the tournament.